You are now listening to Undrafted GM with your host, Lo.
All right, there we go. Well, welcome back to another episode of Undrafted GM here on the Say What You Will Radio Network. Man, if you're tuning in, I appreciate you. We are post Super Bowl officially, people. Man, that sucks to say. But before I keep going into it, we do have a special guest today. It's kind of a last minute thing. I sprung it on him. But we're going to bring on a good friend of mine, Mike McCann. He's actually a coach out in Delaware. Let's go ahead and bring him on.
Hey, what's up, Logan? How are you?
Good, man. How are you, brother?
Doing well. It's cold out here. It snowed today, so.
Oh, I bet, man. It's me and Pop were just talking about that on our last show. It's like 65 plus right now, and that's cooler in the evening.
That's right. I was out in Pittsburgh last week. It was pretty cold, and from my understanding, you guys have that big ice storm heading your way too. So.
Yeah, it was slippery out there, so
man,
be safe.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's been super warm here. Mike obviously was down here in Arizona, but up in Delaware now. Mike, talk to us a little bit about who you are, what you do.
Yeah, so I guess to start, I ended up coaching with you for the Arizona Spartans and the AZCFL for 3 years, 3 years. And then ended up moving out here to the East Coast for work, and still want to continue coaching. So I ended up finding a local high school team in Newark, Delaware, called the Newark Yellow Jackets.
Nice.
So I'm coaching for them. I did that. So I've done that for 2 years so far.
Nice. And so you told me that this past season they actually bumped you up. You are now HC of the JV team, right?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I mean, unfortunately, we didn't have a season because of COVID.
Right.
But I mean, it's still cool to see when work with the younger guys, 13, 14-year-olds, and help them progress. And, you see them coming into their own. So it's kind of cool to give back to the community.
That's great, man. And, it's funny. So we actually have a lot of Spartans that do watch the show from time to time. So some of them will probably jump in the comments and see on there. But, so for those of you who don't know, again, his name's Mike McCann. He's coaching out there in Delaware. Mike, I know I threw it at you last minute, but I really appreciate you being on, man.
For sure, man.
But yeah, so I'm going to pick your brain today. We're going to talk some NFL stuff. Me and Mike always used to talk off air and after practice about some NFL stuff. But man, did you watch the Super Bowl?
Of course, man. Yeah, it was a good game. I feel like there was definitely some touchy calls as a defensive guy. I don't like a few of the calls, but I mean, it is what it is.
So from what you're telling me, I feel like you're leaning more towards touchy calls on the Kansas City side.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Right.
But, I mean, calls go either way sometimes. And, football is a game of momentum. So I feel like they took the wind out of the sails. But, I mean, like I said, I think Mahomes is going to be fine.
I agree with you 100%. Me and Pops were talking off air, and we were talking about how, Mahomes definitely looked bad, but it wasn't, let's be honest. His O-line situation was atrocious.
Right. Yeah, Eric Fisher tore his Achilles the week before or 2 weeks before.
Yep.
Yeah, they're like shuffling, and I know his turf toe. He ended up having surgery after the Super Bowl. So
right,
I mean, some of the throws he was making is just unreal. Where
sick,
parallel to the ground.
Sick.
How much of it do you think was pressure on? He has had so much pressure on him to beat Brady in the Super Bowl and to be the new superstar and all that type of stuff.
And then literal pressure from blitzing linebackers.
Yeah, exactly. Pressure in the game, but outside pressure from the media and from fans. And, I just think a lot of that has to play a little bit of a head game.
Absolutely.
Don't you think?
Yeah. To be honest, I disagree. I feel like he's definitely a professional. I mean, it's not like it was his first time. He's been there before, and he's played Brady a few times already. I think, I mean, at that level, I feel like they're such professionals. I don't know if it affected him at all, to be honest. I just know that defense wasn't able to stop Brady. I mean, obviously he's a GOAT for a reason. So
Right. Now, I will tell you this, Pops. Mike is a defensive guy, okay? I'm an offensive
yeah,
guy, okay? So we will differ there because for me, when you talk about quarterbacks, mentality is everything, right?
right.
And having conversations of taking over the GOAT status, right, or future GOAT, it's got to play a piece in your mental prep,
Right.
right?
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and
Maybe.
so
Because he's human. I know he's professional, and I know, you know,
fair.
but there's still that aspect of
you're a dude. You hear about it all day. You see yourself on State Farm commercials. You see yourself doing all that, you know?
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it makes sense. You know, they probably got ESPN playing in the locker room and in the facility, so it's not like
you imagine
tune it out, you know?
Right?
So I mean, it makes sense what you're saying.
So being a defensive guy like you are,
yeah.
Talk about, I mean, that run that Tampa had in the playoffs defensively. What an explosion.
Yeah. I think they just got the pieces together. I mean, they played Washington. It ended up being a closer game than I thought.
Washington's defense as well.
Yeah, exactly. Chase Young out of Maryland.
Yep. Maryland High School, Ohio State.
Yeah. High school. Yeah. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Who'd they play in the second round?
Let's see. Round 2 was the Saints.
Saints. Yeah,
Yep.
Man, Drew Brees. It was tough to see that game, man. Drew Brees. I love Drew Brees, and like just to see him go out with 3 picks and just, I mean,
it was rough.
You know, Father Time always wins, man. So
always. I'm so glad you said that because I think Tom Brady's the only one that's withstood it. That dude's slinging it at 43.
43 years old, and he's been to the Super Bowl 10 times.
70% success rate.
And if you think about like someone like Miami, the name is falling out of my head, but the quarterback, Dan Marino, right. There you go, who was probably one of the greatest natural passers,
thrown for 5,000 yards at that time.
Never made it once to the Super Bowl.
Never, not once.
Tom Brady's been there 10 times.
Like, and I'm not gonna say like it's nothing, but you know, it's funny because, you know, I was actually having a conversation with a guy that was on our show. He was part of a network that we were a part of for a while. And he was arguing me because he said he disagrees that defense wins championships. He said for him, it's the balance that wins championships. And, you know, I kind of argued him a little bit because I do agree. I think balance is super crucial. You know, you and me are big time of possession people, right?
100%.
Time of possession wins games, right? We talked about that a lot. But the ability to score, right, and put points on the board technically wins the game. Right. So the ability to counter that would then prohibit you from winning the game, right?
Right.
And I think it's the perfect Tampa Bay and Kansas City were not polar opposites necessarily, but at the same time they were because Tampa Bay's, would you say Tampa Bay's identity changed in the playoffs?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I feel like when it gets cold, it just changes the game so much. Like, I mean, obviously they played Super Bowl in Tampa, so that really didn't affect it. But you know, they played in Washington, and I mean they played in the Dome in in New Orleans. So yeah, I definitely think. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know.
And see, it's hard because like you know, you go from watching Mahomes throw 50 times a game, right? He goes out there, and then you see guys like. I mean, they're calling him playoff Leonard Fournette down from Florida, right?
Yeah.
Him and Ronald Jones start popping off 120-plus yard games regularly. Yeah. And I just feel like Tampa Bay went from, okay, this is Tom Brady's team, to, I'll be honest, that Super Bowl, to me, did not feel like Tom dominant. For the first time, it was like, wow, that defense is everything.
Yeah, I think you got to definitely be balanced when you approach for an offense. Like as a defensive guy, right? If I don't know what's coming, I don't know what play to call. It's tough to have the perfect play called versus a run versus a pass. You know, 3rd and long. If they're gonna run a draw, it's tough to defend because you're anticipating a pass. So I think definitely keeping it balanced and keeping the defense off balance is crucial.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, let's be honest, so obviously Bruce Arians was the HC, and he's notorious for his time in Pittsburgh being offensive coordinator. but they also had an old Pittsburgh quarterback, Byron Leftwich, who was their offensive coordinator. And man, if anybody had a grow in a progression this year, he definitely did.
Oh, 100%. I think
that was great.
I think he'll definitely get I would like to see him get a head coaching job sometime soon.
Yeah.
I think definitely some of the hirings were questionable in my eyes.
Thank you.
I think Eric Bieniemy should have been. I'm a Jets
no question.
fan.
That would have been the first person I would have hired.
Oh, 100%. Like, imagine Sam Darnold with Eric Bieniemy. Like,
yeah, it's a different quarterback.
100%. Yeah. So, I like. I forget he used to be the defensive coordinator for the 49ers. I think that's still a good hire. But
yeah.
I think it's a good hire, but I feel like Byron Leftwich and Eric Bieniemy should definitely be head coaches in the league.
I'm so glad you said that, because even and I was one of the people that I did think the Urban Meyer to Jacksonville thing was a fit for the head coach spot. But I thought the Jets should have went out and got somebody offensive. I thought, I didn't think the Chargers should have fired Anthony Lynn so quick. Let's put that on record. And then, Detroit, I thought they should have went out and got somebody, more offensive minded. And I get Dan Campbell as this hype man. I talked about this last week. He's in there talking about biting people's kneecaps off in that interview. Right. But yeah, it's just crazy. So, I love the fact that you brought up, Eric Bieniemy. I think he would have been, I think Urban Meyer fit in Jacksonville, but I still would have picked Eric Bieniemy over Urban Meyer, just me personally. Okay. Because Andy Reid gets so much love for the things that Bieniemy does,
Well, yeah. If you look at, I was watching this thing of his coaching tree, like Jim Harbaugh.
Right.
I think he, head coach for the Buffalo Bills. I forget his name. He also coached with Andy Reid.
Oh, Sean McDermott.
Yeah, dude. His story is crazy. His story is crazy, man. He was an investment banker, and he took an internship in Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. The rest is history, man. That's cool to see someone like chase their dream and it work out. So
yeah, especially at that level. It's kind of like the Kurt Warner thing, right? Came from bagging groceries back to Arena League, then to Europe, and then the NFL.
Yeah, man, it's cool. I don't know. Everybody likes to see it, right? But it's tough. Obviously, when you're in the grind, he's probably thinking, "Oh, this is the end for me." But I don't know.
Yeah,
it's cool to see.
And that's the thing. So a big part of the theme here on this show is like all of football and the process of it, and
right.
We've had some people on in the past. We've had Dale Buchanan, and what's crazy about him is he was on. Obviously, we talked to him. He was a free agent at the time. And then he got signed by Tampa Bay. He played a lot of reps for Levante David when he went down in the semifinal game. And then he just got him a Super Bowl ring. Shout out.
That's awesome.
Shout out to Dayon Buchanan.
So I just want to tell you, Mike, if you're on the show, good things happen like real fast right after. So
Mike get pulled up to varsity to HC, my guy.
Yeah. Hopefully we win a ring next year, man.
That's right.
Yeah. I coached. Even though I'm JV, I coach varsity as well. But they only let 4 teams into the playoffs, unfortunately, this year because of COVID, and we were 7-1. We're the 7th seed, so.
Oh man,
I think we would have made a run at it, but
for sure.
Yeah, the system in Delaware is weird, where if you play like a Division I team, you get more points if you win, and you get more points if you lose. So like it's a little bit of scheduling stuff.
Right. That's incredible. And it's funny how football is so political in its hierarchy. It's kind of like the SEC and every other conference, SEC gets dominance because they play that caliber of competition year round. But that's a shame, man. 7-1 as a high school team, like people don't really understand just how difficult that is, especially because the age range and the experience level is so vast. Some teams you're running with freshmen on varsity.
Oh, dude, we ended up having 35 kids total for the team.
What?
Yeah, so we have it's a Division II school. Trying to think. We had probably 6 sophomores starting.
Oh my Lord.
I don't think, and we didn't have any freshmen starting, but we definitely have a young team, which is cool for the future.
And so, with that being the case, were you guys playing 8-man ball or you guys still 11-man, right?
No, we're still 11. We're still 11.
Beautiful, man. Yeah, because that's the case is when it starts getting like that where, you're fielding teams with 30 guys, those are usually the roster size for 8-man teams, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so but that's unique. Normally, just for those who don't know, on a high school roster, you're looking at like anywhere from 50 to 75 at times because you want to be deep. Players don't know, you're just getting guys through. Some guys just hold roster spots,
Right.
So that's incredible that you guys did that with 35 people. That's dedication.
Yeah, it was tough, man. I mean, it was a good season. It's tough, but I see what you're saying. Yeah, with 30 guys, you could barely do, 11 on 11, right?
Right.
Some people are doing schoolwork or some people sick. Then
yeah, gets very thin.
Yep, exactly.
That's incredible. Well,
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, because obviously you have so much football experience. You played yourself. What would you say to people that are, wanting to get into coaching? If you had advice for somebody who wants to get into high school coaching or something like that, maybe an expectation or something that you can set, but what would you say?
I mean, if something you really want to do, just do it, man. It's just time and effort, like anything, right? If you want to get good at something, you just got to learn. And you're not, I guess with everything, right? You're not going to know, you're not going to be an expert when you first start out. You're going to make mistakes, but if you find find people that are willing to help, just ask as many questions as you can. It's the quickest way to learn.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Football is a game of mentorship.
100%.
It's a game where you pass knowledge on. I know how many hours I spent on the phone with you asking you questions and vice versa.
Yeah.
Like it's,
yeah.
And so
I remember it. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good, man.
I remember asking you questions like, what do I do in this situation? Or like, as an offensive guy, what do you like to do versus this or versus that? So it's kind of
the amount I got from you for defense saved me for sure. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's so much give and take, and that's what's incredible at the NFL level is some of the things that people don't recognize is with these guys that are making decisions, and that's what blows me away. Going back to the head coach fit standpoint, is scheme and knowledge and preparation shows on the field. You can't
100%.
fake it,
100%.
and that's why guys like Eric Bieniemy, that's why they win. That's why they score. That's why, when he gets guys like Mahomes becomes a special talent. We were talking, I was talking to someone today at practice, and he was talking about this guy who went to, actually, it was a guy that knows an LA Dodger, Cody Bellinger. And Cody Bellinger is obviously one of the best players in MLB right now. And he said, he played with Cody Bellinger on one of his club teams. And he said, obviously, this dude's playing tons and tons of club teams because he's really good. He said, but what was even better is right as he was peaking, he found a very good hitting coach, and it kind of helped him hit his stride. And, I think having that mentorship in football is the same way. Finding somebody who's fighting for you as an individual, really builds that growth. So I think that's awesome that, you're trying to coach and continue on at those levels, because the youth, especially having somebody who cares about football, I think that's awesome. So I'm really excited for you, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I heard a quote it's like, what is it? The kids don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, kind of thing.
Man,
so I mean, that's got to precede it all. I want them to be successful. If they don't want to even play football, I want them to do well in school so they can go to college and better their lives or start their own business.
Yeah, isn't that what really coaching is about? It's beyond just the game itself. It's about life, right?
100%, right? Like, yeah. I mean, I learned a lot, so that's why I like to give back. Just, you get knocked down 7 times, you get up 8 times, kind of thing.
That's right.
If you want to get good, go ahead.
And that's the thing is like, when Mikey, when you were out here, you played a little JUCO ball, and JUCO ball doesn't even exist in the state of Arizona anymore. And it's such a shame.
Yeah, it keeps kids out of trouble, and that's why I feel like Matt's doing a good job out there with the AZCFL. I feel like kids can definitely get film if they weren't great in high school, or if they didn't develop until they turn 18 or 19, they can get film and then end up going to school and getting a degree for free. I mean, that's like and most kids aren't going to go to the NFL, right? But if they
Right.
can get a free education,
That's
take
a
advantage of the
win.
opportunity. Yeah,
Absolutely. And I'm so glad you said that, because we're actually going to take a sponsor break here in a second. But before we do, I want to plug one of our sponsors. And Mike, I'm so glad you brought it up. You mentioned Matt, and Matt is Matt Archer, the owner of the Arizona Cactus Football League, himself and Raphael Lee. They are both owners of the Arizona Cactus Football League. But what's great about that is Mike's referencing that because both him and I had an opportunity to coach in that league. And that is semi-professional football out here in Arizona. The AZCFL actually does sponsor this show, sponsors the network, Undrafted GM. And look, if you or a loved one or, someone is looking for football, if you're looking for, to continue living the dream, you just want to pad up again, or like Mike said, if you're looking for film, if you're looking for another area of opportunity that you can put your name out there, work on your craft further, whether that be coaching, whether that be playing, whether you're looking for a role in administration, please feel free to reach out to me. I will make sure you get in contact with the Arizona Cactus Football League. They have so many opportunities, so many different volunteer positions as well, that you can even get volunteer hours for. So there's so many different areas, but yeah, make sure you go to azcfl.com. That is Arizona Cactus Football League on Facebook, but that is azcfl.com. You're going to want to go ahead and check them out as soon as possible because, again, that's a new sponsor for us. It's really huge in the community. They're doing some really awesome things moving forward as well. But go ahead, Pop.
Yeah, I just want to talk about our newest sponsor as well, Mythical Beards. Mythical Beards, if you go to mythicalbeards.com, check out all the different products that they have. If you are a guy and you've got some facial hair, the last thing you want is an out-of-control beard.
Man,
you know what I'm saying?
I do, unfortunately.
You don't want to look like you just climbed out of a cave up in Alaska.
That's why we had to trim it down. Yeah,
you got to trim it down.
We were getting there. We were getting there.
You got to keep it trim, and you also got to use either a beard oil or a beard balm, mustache, that type of stuff as well. Now, Mythical Beard is one of the greatest. The reason we have Mythical Beard sponsor us is because they are a fantastic beard oil company. There's a lot of them out there.
There's a ton. It's becoming a very popular field.
There is.
But they really set themselves apart.
That's right. And they have scents like scented bearded oils. One of the popular ones is called Kraken. That's a vanilla and spices beard oil smell.
Oh, yeah.
They got the Chupacabra.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, come on.
That's a lime mint smell. They've even got jack-o'-lantern, which is a pumpkin spice. They've got a fir orange mint. They've even got werewolf, which is a coffee smell.
Hey. So look, fellas, it is Valentine's Day tomorrow. Okay.
Right.
If you got a date set up at some point this week, go ahead and reach out to Mythical Beards. You can also reach them on Instagram at Mythical Beards as well.
That's right. And check out their blog. Their blog is actually written by a high school senior. His name is Ethan Smith. His blog is fascinating, and it's right there. It's an all beard blog.
Beards.
It's all beards. And that's mythicalbeards.com. So check them out. They were a great sponsor of ours, and we just appreciate them being part of the show. And that's about it for Mythical Beards.
All right. So we really appreciate all of our sponsors. We'll talk about some more here in a little bit, but we got to get Mike on the beard gang. Mike, we got to get you growed out, man. But man, hey, one step at a time. But
they also have solid colognes, by the way.
Oh, hey, there you go.
So if you don't have a beard and you just want some solid cologne, they have that as well.
There you go. Win-win.
I could do that. Yeah, exactly.
But man, there's a lot going on. Even the fact that last week was the Super Bowl. I sent some to you. I sent some things. I posted some things on our Instagram this week. I posted some not predictions. Let me clarify that for the people that are mad at me out there, because I've had a couple backlash comments this week. But I've posted some things I would like to see happen as far as some of the quarterback moves. Mike, who are you excited to see move on to a new team?
I don't know. I'm not sure if it'll happen, but Deshaun Watson for sure.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. At this point, after seeing J.J. Watt demand his release, it almost seems like an inevitable.
Well, he got released yesterday, I believe.
Yep. So J.J. Watt is a free agent. I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to talk about that too. Pittsburgh,
Yeah, he's going to
figure it out.
Going to play.
I hope
he's going to
so.
play with his brothers.
We're praying.
Maybe. Another team that's looking at him is Cleveland. Now, could you imagine that? You've got the brothers just, 75 miles apart down the turnpike playing against each other in the backyard brawl. I'm telling you.
The last thing that we would want is him to crush the living soul out of the last year that Ben Roethlisberger has. I'll be honest. So I'm going to make a prediction right now. He's not coming to Pittsburgh. He's not going to Cleveland. He will wind up in his home state of Green Bay.
Ooh.
Well, city, but in the state because he played for University of Washington or Wisconsin.
That might be the missing piece they need to get over that NFC Championship hump.
Over the hump is that pass rush, right? that defense. Because let's be honest, you're a big secondary guy, right?
Yeah.
They have a very nice secondary.
Oh, Alexander, he's a dog. Savage
is
a dog.
Incredible. Adrian Amos is one of my favorite players in the league. Is a Penn Stater alum like Pop. Adrian Amos is a phenomenal, strong safety. They are loaded. So, that would be a big piece for them. What do you think?
Yeah, man, I think. Yeah, I mean, it was a tight, such a close game versus Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
And that last PI call, man, they let him play the whole game, and then they threw the flag at the end. I mean,
tic tac.
Yeah, it is what it is, but they were down by a lot. They were down.
They were. Yeah, they were getting blown out. Me and Pops were watching that game. We thought they were going to get totally stomped. We were actually in the studio for that game watching the end of it. But, man, that fourth down, should Rodgers have run it?
Oh, easily, yeah. But
why not?
They went. It was third down, right? And they went for the field goal.
Yep. Yeah, and they kicked it. And he should have.
Yeah.
Or that's right. It was third and goal. He should have ran.
Yeah, I guess I don't. I didn't hear what he said about the analytics as far as why he went for a field goal versus going for the touchdown.
That's like they have that movie Moneyball about the Oakland A's.
Yeah.
Analytics and sports and statistics. And look, I agree. But let's be honest. You and I both know football 101 is keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
Right? It's always, hey, if the goal line's in front of you and you don't have to throw it, just walk to it, Oh, man. And so, that was a shame. But, hey, Tom's got 7.
That's crazy.
So, you said it earlier. You said he's the GOAT. Does that 100%. Confirm greatest of all time?
Man, he was the GOAT when he won 6. It's
you think so?
Right now it's just icing on the cake.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I feel that way as well.
Well, I think also leaving the team, because that was the debate. Was it the coaching or was it the player?
And it's the player.
I mean, come
on.
We
have determined it is. It's Tom.
Come
dude.
on,
it's
Belichick. Belichick was a failure this year.
Now, here's the thing. I will say this, Caden. This was an argument I always had against Brady. Brady's always had phenomenal special team play, and he's always had phenomenal defenses, at least top 10. So maybe not the word phenomenal for defense, but very good.
Right.
Obviously the first one that they won against the Rams, good old Vinatieri, right? Legend. They had a lot of really great defensive stalwarts for that early 2000s runs. Rodney Harrison, Teddy Bruschi, Roosevelt. They even had Richard Seymour at one point, Ty Law. Lawyer Malort. They were on and on and on. We could go on forever about at least Pro Bowl caliber guys that they had year in, year out. But, he literally changed conferences and did exactly what he said he was going to do.
Yeah, didn't skip a beat. I don't know. I think they're tied forever because I feel like he instilled the work ethic and maybe the preparation into Brady. So I definitely, I feel like that was obviously the best place he could have gone to,
And I'm glad you said that, Mike. You're really amazing at segues. So I wanted to, because I want to talk about that. I want to talk about, because we're going to talk about quarterback fits here in a minute and kind of some of the things that, you want to see happen. We talked about Deshaun Watson. I want to talk more about him because he's so prolific. But how important is it for a rookie quarterback to find the right fit?
Oh, I feel like it's everything, right? If you look at Lamar Jackson, I mean, I think he probably could be dropped back 50 times a game, but when he's so athletic, they use that skill to their advantage. So they molded the offense around him.
Right.
They got Dobbins and Big Trust and
Big Trust.
Tight ends, and they modified the offensive scheme just to fit him.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, you look at Mahomes with Andy Reid and, him and Eric Bieniemy, and then, you look at what Josh Allen's doing with Sean McDermott, and, and I think, honestly, the reason Baker Mayfield continued to be successful this year is Kevin Stefanski.
Oh,
right?
100%. Yeah, 100%,
that was his perfect fit, but it took him 3 years, which is a shame. You almost feel like 2 years lost,
Oh, 100. I mean, who they end up firing last year before they hired Stefanski? I forget his name.
Oh, Freddie Kitchens.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was definitely a great offensive coordinator. I mean, obviously,
right.
I feel like they took a step back, and I mean, I'm not hating on the guy. So I mean, he'd done something that not a lot of people get to do, but I feel like Stefanski definitely put his personality on the team, like stamp, like you're gonna be tough, you're gonna be run the ball, smash mouth, play action, be
and
sound
boy
and safe.
did they. I mean, you had two backs that were almost averaging 100 yards a game, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt.
They stomped the Pittsburgh Steelers in the first round. They were up by 28 in the first quarter.
Did you hear him bring that up just like that? Did you hear him?
I heard it.
I thought this was going to be a friendly show, Mike.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's been trying to work that in all show.
He's like, okay, I forgot the fact that the Browns want on him. No, and that's the thing is, right? Because they almost, and this sounds terrible, not to discredit what they did, they took on a very Pittsburgh identity. A very 100%. Rough and tough defense, pound the rock, play action. That's a very Pittsburgh identity. This new empty set, this new, we're going to spread them out and pick them apart. That's new. Ben hasn't been throwing 50 times in his career, and now is not the best time for him to start doing it.
They won 11 in a row, right? And then I started getting cold. The weather started getting bad, and
I think sure 11-0 was a week,
a schedule.
Yeah, it was a week schedule, and they just,
But that's the thing at that age, Ben's physical ability, especially Pittsburgh winners, it changes everything. You're not gripping like you're used to. You're not, that elbow starts to hurt a little more. There's just so many different things, but Cleveland took that old school approach in a new era, which is what's crazy. And I think why so many people were kind of rooting for them is because it's almost like, the league shifted to a new era and Cleveland went retro. Cleveland went back and we're like, let's just do what's, proven, right? Let's pound the rock. Let's have good tight ends. Let's make short completions. Let's, just be consistent. And let's just not turn the ball over.
Right.
And so, time of possession.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. And that's, man, incredible. I mean, when you have time of possession, you can knock a quarter off. Jeez.
I think that's didn't Tampa after they got the ball back in the third quarter, then they have like a 10 or 11 play drive. And
10 or 11 play drive. And I want to say it was that clock. Chewed almost as many minutes, and that's incredible. I mean, when you talk about, these drives that are anywhere between 10, sometimes even 15 play drives, that's remarkable in and of itself, regardless of outcome, field goal, touchdown, or other. But they're usually like 8 minutes in length when you're talking even like a 15 play. So for them to chew almost 10 minutes off the clock, that's game planning at its finest. That's
100%.
Right. It's knowing and picking your spots. And, we're talking about guys on defense. The secondary for Kansas City, definitely a little bit fresher. Tyran's, legit. He is a dog. Bashad Breeland's incredible, but he's a little more on the back end of his career. Daniel Sorensen finally got his full-time starter position, made the play of all plays in that semifinal game, right? With the knocking the ball out from not Donovan Peoples-Jones, from Kadero Hodges when he reached for the end zone. That was incredible. Forced that touchback.
Oh man, that was tough to swallow if you're a Browns fan.
If you're a Browns fan. Man, and he not only did he make an amazing catch, man turned around and went to score. About to change the whole momentum of the game. Mahomes is out for the rest of the game. You score right there, you're one possession game, and you got almost a whole fourth quarter. They were gonna win that game. And Daniel Sorensen, man, he single-handedly saved them that season. But incredible.
Yeah, you can't fault him for trying to score. I mean, that's what you teach him, right?
That's
Turn
right.
around, score at all costs, but
find the end zone, man.
Yeah.
You got something?
No, I was just wondering. You guys were talking about quarterbacks that may be moving around.
Oh yeah, we're talking a lot about that.
Any news on Stafford?
So I don't know if you remember last week we talked about Stafford. Okay, Matt Stafford is now an LA Ram. Right. Jared Goff is with the Detroit Lions officially. It's funny. I'm glad you brought that up, Mike. Give me your thoughts. Because me personally, I like the Stafford to LA thing. I think that's a good fit for them. Sean McVay is a young coach. I think that does some exciting things for him. I think that's a big step back for Jared Goff.
Big step back. Man, I feel like maybe Detroit's in a rebuild mode, so that's probably tough to not have the pieces around him. I don't know. I mean, I'd like to see him do well. So
Agreed. Yeah, they're losing their two top receivers right now. They're going to lose, well, potentially to free agency, Kenny Golladay and Marvin Jones. Now, Marvin Jones is on the backside of 30. Still a freak. He is an absolute stud. Funny enough, the guy who does our intro is actually his cousin, Andrew Jones. So, cool little familial ties there. But I'm hoping Marvin lands with a contender, man, so we can go get him one. But so losing Kenny Golladay. I mean, they do have some nice young pieces. TJ Hawkinson out of Iowa is really nice. DeAndre Swift out of Georgia is really nice. The running back. But that's going from a consistent contender to a situation where they haven't been in contention for some time is rough. The new Cleveland Browns.
Dude.
But
I feel like Jared Goff gets so much grief, man. He does. He broke his thumb, had surgery,
and came back in a week?
Yeah, a week. I feel like, man, everybody just hates on him. I think he's in the NFL for a reason. He got paid for a reason. That hopefully he turns it around.
And I agree wholeheartedly. He's a number 1 overall pick for a reason. The guy's a stud, but there's a lot of room for him to grow as far as the turnover game.
100%, yeah.
So I'm going to run down a little list here. Okay, I have my list of what I would like to see happen. We'll stop on each one. I kind of want your feedback. What you think fit-wise? If you're like, nah, that's disgusting. I would never like to see that happen.
Yeah.
So early on, right, we'll start with your guy, Deshaun Watson. You talked about him, where he's going to move. There's been so much speculation. 1, because he's a freaking stud. 2,
winner. He's a winner.
He's a winner. And 3, he's a good guy. No character issues. You know what you're getting from him. He's a leader, solid dude. Mm-hmm. So early on, when the Deshaun Watson things were coming out, there was a rumored trade that Miami had reached out to Houston. Mm-hmm. Okay, that was what I would like to see. I would love to see Deshaun go to the AFC East. That newly is Bills territory, no longer New England territory.
Right.
And go to a perennial loser and change that franchise with your defensive guy, the number 1 scoring defense in the league from this past year.
My God.
They were scoring almost a touchdown a game.
Brian Flores is a genius. I mean, he is under Bill Belichick, man.
Off that tree. That's right. Yeah, he's from that coaching tree. And, their defense was so spectacular this year. I mean, we were talking about Jared Goff. They ran through the Rams during that game. It was like 46-14 or something ridiculous. They had 2 touchdowns that game on defense alone. That's sick. Mm-hmm. But so give me your thoughts. Where would you like to see Deshaun land?
I mean, I'm a Jets fan, so I'd like to see the go to the Jets, but
Right. Okay. Oh man, I forgot that you're a Jets fan. That's rough. That's rough
it's
right
tough.
now for
It's
you
been
guys.
tough forever. Trade for the number 2 overall pick. I would do that in a heartbeat.
And see, okay, I'm glad you said that. One, I'm sorry, I would not like to see him go to the Jets. That's okay. I just think there's too much organizational unrest. But I do love. I didn't mind, like you said earlier, Robert Sala. I didn't mind that hiring.
Right.
I was hoping you guys were going to get an offensive guy,
Right.
just because. Tell me your thoughts on Sam Darnold. Is he a franchise piece for you guys, or is he somebody you guys should maybe cut ties and move on?
That's tough, man. I feel like he definitely hasn't gotten a fair shake.
Yep.
You know, I mean, like you said, the organization has unrest, and I mean, he doesn't have any pieces, so it's tough to evaluate when the guy doesn't have help around him. I think I don't know. I mean, he's man. I've seen him run over. I mean, he seems like he has heart. I've seen him run over some guys, and
Exactly.
see that from quarterbacks. So
Ever.
I mean,
right? Except for Jay Cutler against Pittsburgh, which is embarrassing. But so you know what's unique about that, and I'm glad you said that. So I actually firmly believe, in my things I would like to see happen, I would like to see Darnold stay with you guys. Okay. I would like to see you guys invest that second overall pick in a trade. And I would like to see you guys trade back because I believe you already have multiple first round picks from the Jamal Adams trade. Is that correct?
I to be honest, I'm not sure. I think we got a first and a safety.
Right. Yeah, and I think you guys have a first. You guys were stepping up at the end of the season. You looked good them last 2 games.
Yeah, I mean they ended up firing Greg Williams after that Raiders game, which is tough. I like. I've seen him speak live, so he's a pretty intense guy. So I mean,
he's a scary dude.
Yeah,
he's a scary dude. Now, for those who don't know, Greg Williams obviously is a defensive coordinator in the league, but remember he was notorious for Bounty Gate. Right? Do you remember Bounty Gate, Pop?
It rings a bell, but
okay. Yeah. So Bounty Gate, New Orleans, when he was the DC for New Orleans, they got in trouble because there was players that had quote unquote bounties on injuring other players.
That's why their head coach was suspended.
Right. Sean Payton was suspended, but ultimately Greg Williams was the one who got the brunt because he was the one that they believe was, the
mastermind.
Right.
Yeah.
And so he was kind of planning and scheming on that. But he is a very successful DC in terms of some of the defense he puts out are pretty fierce. Right. And so, I saw he got fired. Now, let me ask you this. You're a Jets fan. Do you think he should have got fired first? Or do you think Adam Gase should have got fired first?
Definitely. I don't know. I like Greg Williams, so maybe Adam Gase. I don't know. That's just preference, but
and that's my thing. Here's my issue. Adam Gase showed up and had the weirdest first interview ever. He had that I don't know if either of you saw, but Adam Gase, he was like in his interview and he's like all bug-eyed and it looked like he was like freaking out. It was, if you guys go watch it on YouTube, if you're listening to this right now, go look up Adam Gase New York Jets interview right now, and I promise you it'll be the first thing. Guy looked like he was losing his mind. He hadn't even started yet. But Adam Gase is notoriously an underperformer in the NFL. Which, let's be honest, Miami, it was huge. And look what happened to Ryan Tannehill, right? That's part of the reason I think Darnold needs that second chance. A la Ryan Tannehill, when you're stuck in bad head coaching situations, especially head coaches that are predominantly offensive leaning, you kind of get, in a rut. You don't feel, it's like an artist, right? You feel like you're in a creative box, they call it, right? I don't feel that they play call well for Darnold. So
I agree.
Would you like to see a situation where you guys trade back and get a package? Do you think there's somebody in the draft you guys should go after?
I mean, now you see him saying Darnold. I definitely think he should get another shot. It's just weird not weird, but you gotta, with the salary cap, do you pay him, more than Deshaun Watson? I guess how does that go? Because then you restrict the team's other resources.
Right.
So I mean, if you get him at a good deal, I mean, then yeah, let him develop.
So you think, and I think that's a good point. So maybe ownership has a conversation. Hey, we want you here, but you got to really reel it back in for us right here. We got to reset some expectations. I do believe you guys are firmly in the hunt. Now, I also heard right now Deshaun's kind of in a space with two teams, and one of them shocked me. Have you heard any rumors about Denver?
I did hear that, yeah. They have great receivers out there.
They do. They have two fantastic receivers, Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. Could you imagine that AFC West?
Oh, Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes.
Not to mention new Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
Right? And then obviously Derek Carr.
Yeah.
I mean, Derek Carr's definitely not top tier conversation, but Justin Herbert just won Rookie of the Year. So, right. I mean, that's a pretty power-packed division. Now, if he's going to go anywhere, I've heard a ton about the Niners.
For Jimmy G?
Yeah, and so that's the thing. So I know Jimmy Garoppolo is a big cap hit. So that'll be interesting to see if San Fran decides that's the bet. But I'll be honest, for a guy like Deshaun, I'm mortgaging my future.
That's what it is, right? If you give away 2 first rounders and your quarterback for Deshaun, I mean, you got to be in a win now mentality, I think, if you want to go get him.
And that's why I think Miami is a perfect fit. I think they are actually, believe it or not, and it's weird to say, I think they're in a window. They have guys like Devontae Parker. I mean, I know Albert Wilson came back this year. They got Mike Gesicki, the tight end, another Penn State guy. One of my favorite players, Myles Gaskin, the running back out of Washington. And then a defense like that, I absolutely think that changes it.
Really? I think you got to give Tua a chance. I feel like they didn't have a training camp this year. I mean, obviously, you saw Justin Herbert do well, but I mean, Tua, he won a bunch of titles at Alabama. I think he won 2. He was an Elite 11 MVP quarterback in high school. I think he'll figure it out.
And I'm 100% in agreement with you. I like Tua as well. I think Tua is in a bad situation because Miami is so desperate to start winning.
Right.
That I don't think they're going to be patient with him like they should be.
Right.
I don't think him jumping in for Fitzpatrick at that time, especially when Fitzpatrick was rolling like that, was the smart move at all.
Yeah, I didn't understand that move at all. I thought Fitz earned that position
by far. And
I get you've got a young dude sitting on but let him learn a year. And like Coach Mike was saying, there was no preseason. There was no development for this kid.
Right.
There was no preparation.
He came off a dislocated hip. That dude had a disgusting, which that thing was gross, a disgustingly dislocated hip. And I feel like he didn't perform terribly. It's not like he came out and turned the ball over a bunch. It's not like he had, he just wasn't what they were hoping. And that's that, franchise that's down on their luck mindset. And it's going to be really unique because, unfortunately, if Deshaun winds up in Miami, that means what for Tua? He winds up in Houston.
Yeah.
A team that is in shambles.
Yeah, I don't even know who they hired. They should have went after Eric Bieniemy as well.
Agreed. Yeah, who did they hire?
Or Byron.
That's right. Yeah, they hired it was an OC, but he had just got promoted to OC for 1 year. Oh, he was the OC for, ironically enough, so this is what I remember of him. I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but he was the OC for the team that had the worst passing offense in the league this year. Jeez. Why do you think Deshaun Watson wants out? Why do you think he's like, this is unacceptable? And I'm not always in agreement with players flexing to that degree to where they're like, no, I'm going to do whatever I want regardless. I get that it's their life, their contract. That's cool. I'm 100% in agreement with that. But sometimes you got to fight through a little bit. But he's fought through a lot. They literally shipped off DeAndre Hopkins.
That
And
was
then insane, right?
It's crazy because you saw the Stephon Diggs trade was a few days before, a few days after, and they
My
got
God.
what, like a first and a second round pick, and all the Texans got was a running back and a second rounder, or I'm not sure,
That
a third
second
rounder.
rounder and David Johnson.
Right.
Oh, that, and it's just, and I think they might have got a future fourth, but
Okay.
regardless, not nearly enough capital for, at the time, the best receiver in the league.
Right.
And he's still in that conversation regardless of what he does, and
Mhm.
it's just, it's shocking. Shout out Stephon Diggs for being the best receiver in the AFC, my personal favorite in the entire league. But that's the thing. You see these moves like the Bills, they knew that was an upgrade. It's the same thing we're talking about mortgaging your future, right? It's a certainty for you. You're like, this is a fit. The character's there. This is, the scheme is there. Let's just commit. Why not? I don't understand how we're a week after the Super Bowl. I'm telling you right now, if I'm the GM of a team and I know that my future is on the line with my team, which it always is as a GM in the NFL,
Mhm.
Deshaun Watson sitting out there, I am not hanging up with Houston until I have him on my team. I am not hanging up. This guy had better numbers than Mahomes did this year.
Did he?
Yes, by quite a bit. Pro Football Focus had Deshaun Watson ranked number 1 at the end of the year. We're talking about, a guy who's in the AFC with, Mahomes, and he's outslinging Russell Wilson and Tom Brady. This is a quarterback heavy
Lamar.
league right now. Lamar, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just no character questions. How often do you come across guys like that?
I mean, and he was a winner in college. He ended up
High school, college, all of them.
He beat Alabama national championship.
One of the greatest moments in college football.
Yeah,
It was great.
with Clemson.
Yep, he had Hunter Renfro.
Yeah. Dabo spoke highly of him as like the next Jordan.
That's what a comparison by a legendary coach, Dabo Swinney. So again, for those who don't know, head coach of Clemson, Dabo Swinney, legendary college coach, came out and said Deshaun, he looked at him the way he looks at Jordan. That's insane.
Right.
We're talking about one of the greatest athletes of all time on the Tom Brady level, right?
Yeah,
100%. Up there with the GOATs, and man. But so if Mike has it his way, you heard it here first. Deshaun's a Jet. I do like some of the core you guys do have, though. I'm a big fan of Jamison Crowder. He was out of Duke. He came over from Washington. I really like that addition. You guys have a young tight end too. Herndon, I like him. You guys got a couple pieces. You actually had some running backs play really well at the end of the year as well. But yeah, you guys are building.
Yeah, it's gonna be a few year process, but we'll see. I mean, Frank Gore, the ageless wonder, man. I love watching him, dude.
Man,
20 years in the league, 18. I love watching him.
20 years in the league, and he's what? Isn't he like 4th or 3rd all time right now? He's up there. Yeah, he's up there. And but yeah, it's incredible. That guy's 20-year vet in the league, talking about still playing. Incredible. Yeah. But so let's talk a little bit more about some other quarterbacks that are moving. The big one right now, the big one everybody's asking about, Carson Wentz. What do you think? Should he stay in Philly? Does he go to a team like, I don't know, Chicago?
I don't know. The way that the season ended was tough, man. I remember watching the game, and I was really, maybe they just went up a few draft spots if they lost, but
yeah,
it just, it doesn't sit well with the players, right? They're competitors. So why bench Jalen Hurts when you're in I think it was a 1-score game at the time.
Yep.
And then obviously Peterson's gone. I would like to see him as a Colt.
Carson as a Colt. I actually haven't heard that one. That's not a bad. So my original was Stafford to the Colts. I thought that was a fit made in heaven, right? Yeah. Phillips Rivers leaves. You're bringing another vet, but I haven't heard Carson to the Colts. That's not a bad idea. Yeah. I just think Chicago needs a reset, just like the Jets do. I think they need to, with their quarterback position at least, solid defense. But man, do they need a reset?
Yeah, they're one piece. I think they're a quarterback away from making a deep run. Chicago.
Agreed. David Montgomery's nice. If they can keep Allen Robinson, another Penn State guy, that is huge. He had 1,200 yards this year. Insane.
Did he?
Yeah, and so that would be big for them and whoever comes in.
I love watching their defense, man. Khalil
Nasty.
Mack is just best player in the best defensive player in the league for like last 3 years. I mean, he doesn't put up crazy stats, but he's getting doubled and triple teamed and chip blocked.
Man, he's nasty. Yeah, he's up there with Aaron Donald, that's for sure. And he but I really like Eddie Jackson from Alabama. He plays real hard for them. He's nice. Even Roquan Smith, the young one from Georgia, he's nice.
Linebacker.
Yeah, they got a lot of pieces there. They're a team away. Say that again.
Hicks, the D tackle.
Oh, Akeem Hicks. Yeah, he's a nasty too. Yeah. So they're. I think I agree with you there. They're a quarterback away. You said Carson goes Colts. I'm gonna say Bears. What do you think, Pop?
Well, I think that the NFL is going to have to cut the season back to 4 games so Wentz can finish a season out.
Right, man. Health is crucial.
That's the problem with him. He is so fragile. He's been hurt so many times. That's got to scare people away from Wentz.
It has to.
And he just hasn't been a winner for 3 seasons now.
Man, and shout out to Joey Counts for making him not a winner in college too.
That's right.
But man, and
I just don't think he's a highly sought after quarterback right now.
Which is
he's
crazy.
Damaged goods.
He is a lot of a market right now. That's what I don't understand. And I would stand on the table and argue with every person in every room that if we're even having a Carson Wentz conversation, stop it. Deshaun Watson is there. Why are we talking? Why is Carson Wentz's name in our mouth right now?
Incredible. Probably get Carson Wentz for cheaper.
Cheap.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. You're going to get him cheap, but it's just a risky investment.
It is.
If you're going to base your season off of Wentz,
on a Carson Wentz,
that's rolling the dice big time.
Hey, if he goes to Chicago, okay, and they don't include Nick Foles in the trade package, it's Philly all over again, right? And hey, we know what Nick Foles can do in the relief pitcher stance. Maybe he can do some magic for Chicago.
Yeah.
So
he did well last year when he came in for Trubisky.
Yeah, he did. And then I don't know what happened. Didn't he get hurt? And then Mitchell came back in and was just okay.
Yeah.
Terrible. So I'm gonna name off a couple quarterbacks. Tell me where you think they fit, if they stay, if they leave, wherever you think. Jimmy Garoppolo, staying or leaving?
I think he stays. I feel like they just had like a bad season. Injuries killed them this year. They
had like 19 people on IR?
Yeah, it was crazy. Bosa got hurt, the first or second week?
Second week, yep. Yeah, all their interior line.
It'd be good. It'd be nice to see them run it back at full strength.
That would be cool. Okay. So he says Jimmy G stays. So something I would like to see, I don't think will happen. I would like to see Jimmy G go back to the Patriots. Go back and make that reunion.
That's what Belichick wanted to keep him. So
yep. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying because he's not going to draft a quarterback high. So Jimmy G, Cam Newton.
So who goes to San Francisco then if Jimmy G leaves?
So unfortunately, my prediction for who winds up in San Francisco is Deshaun. What I would like to happen is I would like Matt Ryan to kick Atlanta to the curb and get to San Francisco so he can with Kyle Shanahan.
Right.
Yeah, because
Super Bowl, yeah.
Yep, because currently, as of active quarterbacks, Matt Ryan's like 5th out of all active quarterbacks for fourth quarter wins.
Really?
Pretty incredible.
I think Jimmy G's. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was just saying I agree.
Yeah, I think Jimmy G stays in San Fran. I don't think they're, they haven't really given him an opportunity, but I think this is the last opportunity.
Okay.
If he comes out and just isn't a winner,
that's it, man.
They may stick with him through the season
out of obligation.
But if he doesn't take them deep into the playoffs next year, he's out.
Yeah. And that's the thing is I think you're right. If they're not looking at a return to the bowl or close, I think it's a tough conversation.
So I guess to add to that, he missed Emmanuel Sanders in that Super Bowl by 5 yards. He would have been a Super Bowl champion.
Done. Yep, and that's it, man. That was game. And
Yeah.
that's what's incredible is Kansas City. I mean, for as dominant as they are in the regular season and even into the playoffs, both Super Bowls haven't looked like Kansas City.
Right.
Pretty incredible.
They get 2 weeks to prepare for them. They get a long halftime. I mean, the other guys on the defensive side get paid too. That's
right. And look at that. That's the defensive coach in him being like, yeah, Kansas City doesn't matter. Offense be damned.
But Jimmy G's got it tough. He's in probably the most competitive division overall.
Might be the most.
So there's a lot riding on next season.
Yeah, there is.
Speaking of that division, I'm a Cardinals fan. Obviously, they're my number 2 team. They've got to step it up.
Oh, man.
They have got to step it up.
You want to talk about somebody's seat who got hot this season?
Yeah.
Cliff Kingsbury's seat is burning hot. Jeez.
Because Russell Wilson's going to come back with a vengeance next season. You know that.
Yep.
The Rams, they're making the moves.
Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
Nice.
Stafford's going to want to go over there and win. He's going to want to prove himself. He wants to show the world that he was stuck in hell.
Yeah, exactly. He wants to show he was in purgatory for this whole time. It wasn't him that was the issue.
Yeah, so that's going to be an interesting 2021 division. That division will be on fire.
Crazy.
I was going to add, so the Rams are a team that have mortgaged their future a few times, right, in the last few years.
I
don't think they've had a number 1 pick in like 5 years, 4 or 5
I think
years,
since Jared Goff.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think since Jared Goff. No, I lied. So Taylor Rapp and that was 3 years ago because he came out of Washington. He's their safety,
linebacker.
but he's like that hybrid. He plays that rover. Yeah.
Rover, yeah.
I know you love those rover positions.
Yeah.
But they're nasty.
I thought that was baseball.
No, it is not.
I thought the rover was the next to the pitcher.
Okay. Well, hey, you know what? I don't know enough about baseball to say you're wrong, but I know it's in football.
Yeah.
But no, and so I think you're right there, and they haven't had it in a couple years, so that'll be interesting to see if it's worth it. Because I'll be honest, I'm a lot more excited about Stafford being there than most people. I think it's really going to open up Sean McVay. I think their identity is going to change. I think they're going to go away from being a running team to a passing team. So that'll be interesting.
Really?
Yes. All right, let's see here. Oh, okay. Cam Newton. He's hard. Everybody's thinking about everybody else this year. He's kind of fallen in between the cracks when people talk about quarterbacks on the move, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have a weird prediction, but I want to hear what you're thinking.
I don't know, man. That's a tough one. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Maybe.
And that's what's hard, right? Because you're like, man, most teams are spoken for. Here, let me give you one that everybody kind of overlooks. Do you have one? I'll let you guess first.
Well, I gotta say this, and maybe it's just my bias, but Pittsburgh has to pick somebody. They've got to get a backup.
Well, we got one. Okay, we did. Did you see the free agent signing?
No.
Now, I'm not overly thrilled, but it gives me hope. Dwayne Haskins, who was a Washington quarterback, he was their first-round pick 2 years ago. He has a lot of potential, and people called him a junior Big Ben. Okay. Pocket-friendly, big guy. He has some mental fortitude adjustment. We'll call it. Be nice, right, Mike?
Yeah.
I don't think Cam has a lot of trade value.
Well, no. Cam doesn't have trade value, but he's a free agent. He signed
not trade value. I'm sorry. I don't think he doesn't carry a lot of value in the league.
He doesn't. Here's what values Cam is right now, though.
He's up there with Wentz.
Right. Agreed. Reliable number one in terms of regular season. You know what you're going to get. You can build an offense around him. He's a weapon, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he's a beautiful bridge quarterback for a quarterback you want to sit more than 1 year. Mm-hmm. So if you're working on a project, I think Cam can give you 2 more great years or good years for you to mortgage your future on somebody. So here's my pick. And a lot of people gave me flack, and I need to clear it up. I think Cam winds up in Washington.
Okay.
Okay, now Ron Rivera, who was his head coach with the Panthers, is there. His backup quarterback, Kyle Allen's there. And a lot of people were like, oh, well, Ron Rivera cut him. False. Ron Rivera left Carolina before Cam was released. Okay,
by Joe Brady.
Yes, and so right, exactly. Joe Brady and co. The new staff, they were trying to rebuild. I think he wants back up with Ron Rivera because I think Washington's in a unique situation where they can maybe even play multiple quarterbacks and be able to be competitive. Mike doesn't like the multiple QB comment. Go ahead, hit me.
No, I think I've heard, what is it? If you have two quarterbacks, you don't have any.
You don't have any, right. And I'm a firm believer in that as well, okay? But it's a very different skill set because name the Washington quarterback right now off the top of your head who's probably their starter next year.
Alex Smith.
Right, okay? Don't disagree with you. I'm going to give you another one that deserves at least to see the field next year. Taylor Heineke.
Yeah, he did a great,
incredible, dude, incredible. That alone earns him PT, right? But are either of them clearing away the guy who should run them the rest of the season?
I think it depends if Alex Smith's on his
health, right?
Yeah,
but let's be honest, is his health a 17 game health? I don't think so.
Right.
He had what? He started having major bleeding in it. What? 2 games in?
Did he? I know it was just I watched a documentary and it was
wild. Insane. He's such a legend. They got to rename the Comeback Player of the Year award after him. But yeah, so that's my argument for Cam in Washington. I got a couple more for you. Where'd it go? Dak Prescott.
Oh, he stays.
He stays. A lot of people are disagreeing with me. Okay, I think what's going to happen is Jerry Jones is going to be an idiot like he is. And he's going to ruin that because, mind you, Jerry Jones, and I forgot about this, when Jerry Jones re-signs quarterbacks, he's never franchise tagged a quarterback in the history of the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott was the first.
Mm-hmm.
Ezekiel Elliott, his other Cowboy star, was in Cabo, Mexico, and Jerry Jones flew to him, picked him up on his private jet, brought him back to Dallas just to sign him to an extension. But he won't even talk to Dak. Dak's in state, like 30 miles down the road. Won't even have a conversation. They're going to try to franchise tag Dak again. He's going to say no. He's going to bounce out, and he's going to cash in with Denver.
Ooh.
Denver's stuck. Well, they're not stuck. I like Drew Lock, but I don't think they like Drew Lock as much as I like him. And I think they wind up with Dak Prescott. Thoughts?
That's
opinions.
Interesting.
Am I an idiot? Talk to me.
My opinion, I would keep him. Of course, yeah. The NFC East is a terrible division. I feel like they can make the playoffs every year.
Every year they should be winning the division.
Yeah, and then was Kellen Moore. I think he's a good offensive-minded OC. Obviously he broke his. I don't know if he's going to be 100% after breaking his ankle, but I would keep him 100%.
But you gotta wonder too. Does Dak want to be in Dallas? Does he want to be there?
And that's the thing, right? So at this,
it's kind of a poisonous.
It is. It's a tear. I could never. But here's the thing, right? They all said when it originally happened, Dak was offended because he had never not wanted to be there, right? The whole time he was like, "Yeah, I'm fully dedicated." But at this point, after this many slaps in the face. Don't mind me.
Yeah, there seems to be some bad juju or bad blood there for some reason.
And it's so remarkable because Dak doesn't have character issues. Dak doesn't have off-the-field stuff. In fact, he has great off-the-field stuff. He's great dude.
His brother died, and he plays for his brother.
Right? Yeah, like he has all these different things that are driving him, even more so than the normal person. And like, again, another person. Commit your future to good, consistent people. You know he could play. If you're scared of the injury, fine, but say that. Hey, I'm scared he's not going to be the same person, but I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Alex Smith can come back and play, finish out and win a division. Bro, anybody can do it. I don't care. But, yeah, so that was another one I wanted to pick your brain on. Okay, Two real quick fire ones. Rookies incoming. Where do you think Trevor Lawrence lands?
He goes number 1.
Jacksonville?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Urban Meyer.
Agreed.
Urban Meyer, quarterback guru.
Match made in heaven, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a no-brainer. Okay, Justin Fields.
He's good, man. I watched
He's nasty.
The Netflix show QB1.
Dude, I love going back and watching that.
He's a smart, from my understanding, he's like a real smart guy. So
yeah,
I don't know where he goes, but I think any team will be lucky to have him.
For sure. Do you think he is picked before or after Zach Wilson from BYU?
I think before.
See, I think he should be picked before. I think some random team, the Jets, is going to try to pick Zach Wilson before. But I'll be honest, man, if you guys do decide to pick quarterback, I hope that you guys go with Fields. He's a solid dude, and he's got a lot of weapons. But I think he winds up in Atlanta because I really don't think Matt Ryan's going to stick around. Okay. So, it'll be interesting.
Him and Julio Jones.
Which is so sad. Another wasted great receiver, just like Calvin, man. Out there doing more than he needs to for the franchise. Shout out to Calvin Johnson for first ballot Hall of Fame, though. Glad that happened.
Yeah. 10 years in the league, man.
Yeah, and that's it, man. 10 years, and he was done. Jeez.
All right, well, it's a week after Super Bowl Sunday.
Yep.
Right? So we're the furthest out from the next Super Bowl.
I know where this is going. Go
Obviously,
ahead.
right. Who takes the Super Bowl next year?
Go
Early
ahead.
to tell.
Mike, that's how we'll end this. Coach Mike's Super Bowl prediction for 2022.
Can I give you 2 teams?
Absolutely.
Give
me an NFC and an AFC. Who's in there?
I mean, I would like to see in the AFC, I'd like to see the Browns.
Oh, that would be great.
That would be
what a transformation in 2 seasons. Yeah. That would be exactly. The NFL would just explode with new viewership because it's like the most losingest franchise in sports history. All of a sudden, in the greatest game.
And on the NFC side, I mean, Bucks. Unless they lose a lot of pieces, I see the Bucks.
If he wins 8. We might as well cancel the NFL. It's not even fun anymore, bro. If he wins 8 of 11, like what's the point?
Yeah.
Like,
right?
Well,
I mean, there's a 50-50 chance that he'll be back in the Super Bowl.
Isn't that gross? 50-50 that this guy will show up.
Something like that.
It's disgusting. Like, think.
I mean, how many years has he played in the league?
So let's see. He was drafted. Oh, come on.
He's 43, probably went in around 22, 23. So he's been in the league for, 20 years at least.
Because Peyton was what, 98?
First
94.
Yeah, over Ryan. No, Peyton.
98.
98. Yeah, Ryan Leaf.
Right. So Ryan Leaf was, right.
So it's been 22 years he's in the league.
Yeah. So
and he's been in the Super Bowl 10 times.
Tom. Right.
10 times in 21 years. That's almost a 50-50 chance.
That's insane to think about.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord. Thank you for the quick math.
So there you go. But my predictions, I think Baltimore makes a big comeback.
Oh, now you're picking Baltimore.
Well,
I got to get on him, Mike. I picked Baltimore this year. I picked Baltimore and Seattle. Seattle let me down in a crusher. Yeah. And I thought Baltimore was just going to walk through everybody in the AFC.
Yeah, I just see Baltimore making some tweaks. I see them coming back. I think they're going to take the division.
Oh, don't say that out loud.
Well, I mean, I hate to say it. I just don't see Pittsburgh. They've got to rebuild. We're hanging on by a thread. We're hanging on,
hanging on to the glory days.
Yeah, and but I don't think the Browns are going to do it. And Cincy's a joke. So I see Baltimore taking that division. And I see them playing well. I see them coming back strong. I don't think Lamar. I knew he wasn't going to have the outstanding season this year
that he did the year
prior.
That was crazy.
But I do see a comeback for Lamar and the Baltimore. So I see Baltimore going. I see them. I don't see the Chiefs doing it 3 years in a row. Ain't going to happen. And so maybe not, but I see Baltimore making a comeback, and I think Green Bay still has one left in them. So
I'll be honest, if they don't, Aaron Rodgers will leave Green Bay. Mark my words.
He'll got to do something. But I see. So that's my picks: Green Bay, Baltimore.
Green Bay, Baltimore. We got Cleveland, and who's your NFC?
Bucks.
Yeah,
the Bucks. So Tampa Bay, Cleveland, Green Bay, Baltimore. Oh man, it's all on me. Okay.
And the good thing is this is recorded, so the week before Super Bowl Sunday, we'll have to come back and revisit.
We'll pull it up. All right, let's see. For the NFC. Oh my Lord. Yeah, you know what? Oh God. I don't even want to speak. I'm not going to say Tampa Bay because I don't even want to put that out there that he could win 8. I'm going to go back. I'm going to stick with my Seattle pick. Okay. Seattle's going to draft well. They're going to upgrade that defense some more, that pass rush. Seattle's going for the NFC. I do think Green Bay will meet them in the NFC Championship game. For the AFC, I'm going to go Bills.
Oh, my.
Ooh.
I'm going to go Buffalo in that offense.
See, I think this was the Bills' year, and I think they blew it.
Hey, it's very well possible because we'll see. Their defense has to do a lot of soul searching. But it'll be interesting.
And they need a couple other guys.
Yeah. Well, they're missing
offense.
A workhorse. They're missing a couple pieces for sure.
We'll see what happens.
Man, well, Mike, I know I've taken up so much of your time, bro. I know you got dinner. I think you said you had dinner with your brother. So
yeah,
I'll kick you out of here. But, man, I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much for your time, man. I love talking football with you. You're welcome on anytime.
Yeah, man.
Good. Yeah, for sure. And good luck this upcoming season, man. I hope it all goes well so you can get a full season under your belt.
I think we ought to bring people, like all your guests, we ought to bring it together. I think we can have up to 10 people on and do a draft special, pre-draft special.
Hey, might be an idea. Hey, I will need your mock draft this year. So if you want to start working on that, at least round 1. I want round 1.
All right, I can give you round 1.
Bet. So we'll go round 1. We're gonna have some stuff cooking for that. I got some people coming on too. But yeah, so I appreciate you, Mike. Like I said, man, please make sure we keep in touch. I really appreciate you coming on, and I really hope you guys kick butt this year.
Appreciate it, man. Me too. Fingers crossed.
For sure.
State champs, hopefully.
That's right. State champs. Well, for those of you that are still listening, I really appreciate it. I know we went a little bit over our normal hour, which I'm really glad about. No more time constraints, Pop. It's beautiful.
That's right.
But yeah, so for those of you that are still watching, if you're listening, we appreciate you. This has been another episode of Undrafted GM. Make sure you go subscribe to Instagram at undrafted_GM. Go to YouTube, Undrafted GM. Facebook, go to Say What You Will Radio Network. But most importantly, go to saywhatyourwillradionetwork.com. You check out every episode there. Thanks again. Until next week, we'll touch base with you then.